Hollywood is known for being the hardest club to get into, and a lethal face card is necessary for admission, and yet lots of celebrities have been told they don't make the cut. Here are 10 celebrities who have been told they are too ugly for Hollywood. Number 4 will shock you because it seems the art of lying is alive and well. People really are just saying anything now because Sydney Sweeney is considered too ugly for Hollywood. Sydney Sweeney. Like, not really, but there was one producer that said so, and some people online are also like married to that claim. Whatever. Last year, when Anyone But You had finished its theatrical run and moved to streaming, a Hollywood producer wanted to check out the hype surrounding the film and also Sydney Sweeney. She then went to a class that she teaches and proceeded to literally share with the class, "I watched this unwatchable movie. Explain this girl to me. She's not pretty. She can't act. Why is she so hot?" Yeah, people thought that wasn't very nice, and neither did Sweeney because she did actually respond through a rep. Her statement was, "How sad that a woman in the position to share her expertise and experience chooses instead to attack another woman. If that's what she's learned in her decades in the industry and feels is appropriate to teach her students, that's shameful." Former co-workers of Sweeney also came to her defense, calling her talented and kind. Zoe Kravitz recently played Catwoman in The Batman, but she actually auditioned for a role in another popular Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises. It wasn't anything big for that one, but she ended up losing out on the part because they told her she was too urban. Hate that. She does acknowledge that the comment likely didn't come from the director, Christopher Nolan himself, but instead a casting director or an assistant, but no matter who that comes from, it's not nice to hear. Speaking on the comment, the actress said, "Being a woman of color and being an actor and being told at that time that I wasn't able to read because of the color of my skin and the word urban being thrown around like that was what was really hard about that moment. Eventually, karma came around in a good way for her, and she is remembered for a very different, good, bad reason." Gwynneth Paltrow was apparently too ugly for something, despite the director being interested in her for the part. Despite the literal director being interested in Gwynneth Paltrow for a role, she was thought to be too ugly for it by producers. That is absolutely bonkers. The studio told her that she apparently wasn't pretty enough for the character that she was up for. Shakespeare in Love ended up coming out a few years after that. She won an Oscar for it, so everything did work out in the end for her. Up next, you're not gonna believe me, Anne Hathaway, Mia Thermopolis herself, which is wild because I know that we have all seen that Bulgari ad with Zendaya. It goes viral like once a year. Both women look fantastic. There is no room for argument there. But this one is an interesting, albeit unoriginal case. Some people on the list, they're told by casting, they're told by producers, general industry folk that they weren't pretty enough for a role, a scene, whatever. But Anne Hathaway, she had the whole world against her. So many people started hating this poor woman that she left the spotlight for a couple years. And it happens all the time. An actor breaks out, people love them, then suddenly they start noticing them in everything, they complain that they see this person everywhere, hate them, and then the cycle starts with somebody new. Anne Hathaway's particular brand of internet disdain was branded Hatha-hate. It started with her Oscars hosting gig. She was just a bit too energetic for people. Then she was cast as Catwoman, to which some people complained she wasn't hot enough for. Then she cut her hair for Les Mis and did a bunch of interviews for it, and people called her self-absorbed, interviews were rehearsed, they didn't like her face, and also she was too perfect all at the same time. The Hatha-hate made it hard to attach her to a project despite her winning an Oscar in that time period. Luckily, Christopher Nolan saw the gem that she is and cast her in Interstellar, something that Hathaway acknowledges kept the momentum of her career up when it easily could have faltered or stopped altogether. And Ryan Gosling, the man responsible, at least in part, for one of the most loved romance films of all time, The Notebook, the very movie that he was cast in because the filmmaker thought that he wasn't hot. I love this story because, like, what are you talking about? That is Ryan Gosling. Luckily, there is a sort of explanation. So the filmmaker wanted someone that wasn't like perfect model hot, but more messy hot. Gosling shared that the director of the film told him he wanted him for the role literally because he was special and different and not handsome, not cool, just a regular guy who looks a bit nuts. Honestly, that description is a compliment, 10 out of 10 no notes. But yeah, Ryan Gosling's career literally took off because he wasn't traditional handsome, but nuts handsome. Meryl Streep was told she was too ugly to star in King Kong. This would have been towards the beginning of her career, and thank God she didn't let that stop top her because I could not live without some of her movies. In the audition, apparently a producer called her ugly, but in another language that Streep actually knew, so she did reply, which is iconic. She actually had someone take a picture of her post-audition on the way home to commemorate the moment, so she has always been that girl. Andrew Garfield. I am talking about Amazing Spider-Man, Hacksaw Ridge, We Live in Time, The Social Network, Andrew Garfield. I wish I was lying. April Fool's was over weeks ago though. If you are anything like me, you're probably sitting there wondering how anyone could look at Andrew Garfield and think he wasn't pretty. But the story goes like this. Garfield himself shared it in a 2022 interview with Entertainment Tonight, so I'm literally taking this straight from the source. Years ago, like 17, maybe longer, like 17 to 19 years ago, Andrew Garfield was auditioning for The Chronicles of Narnia, aka Prince Caspian. He was auditioning for the Prince, of course, and he said that he was like desperate for the role, he really wanted it, he was really hopeful that this would be his big break moment. Ultimately, we know how that chapter went. The role ended up going to his fellow Marauder fan cast, Ben Barnes, who was also a fantastic choice. So that's the good, we had the bad, so where is the ugly? Well, Garfield really wanted to know, I guess, why he didn't get the part, and bugged his agent to the point where she just had to admit to him that the feedback was that he wasn't handsome enough. What's going on? I truly do hope and admittedly do believe that the casting team didn't make that comment in like a "you're ugly" kind of way, and more just he's not the look they were going for kind of way. Because Andrew Garfield and Ben Barnes do have very different looks. That doesn't mean Garfield is ugly, he is very handsome, that is a fact. People can have differing opinions, but not on that. Sheryl Lee Ralph is a beloved performer, known right now for her role as Barbara on Abbott Elementary. She's been working in the industry a long time though, both on and off the screen. She's very, very talented, let's make that clear. However, she shared some pretty heartbreaking news in an interview a couple years ago. Turns out there were lots of performances of hers that we missed out on because people didn't want to cast her because of her skin tone. This was early on in her career after she had completed her Tony-winning run in Broadway's Dreamgirls. She talked about auditioning with a major casting director at the time and being told, "Everyone knows you're a beautiful, talented black girl, but what do I do with a beautiful, talented black girl? Do I put you in a movie with Tom Cruise? Do you kiss? Who goes to see that movie? Diabolical. Ew. Gross. Also, don't drag Tom Cruise into this." Thank goodness not everyone was as small-minded as this unnamed casting director, and Ralph went on to have a very successful career. Millie Bobby Brown is the latest young star that has had to deal with the trials of growing up in the spotlight. People have torn apart the young woman's appearance in the past few months, well, years actually, to the point where she actually made a video essentially telling people to knock it off, which is so evil. Not her, of course, the people making fun of her. She's been dealing with this since like season 1 of Stranger Things. That's almost 10 years now of relentless criticism. She's not the only person on the cast that has had to deal with this, of course, but some would argue that she's had the roughest go. Currently, the overwhelming comments about the actress's appearance feature people saying she looks older than she is by decades, making comments like, "You look 35, what happened?" criticizing her makeup, her style, the whole 9 yards. Many young stars get immortalized in people's minds at the age when they first blew up, and unfortunately some people just struggle to realize that someone's gonna grow up and look different. In her video, Millie did address this saying, "I grew up in front of the world, and for some reason, people can't seem to grow up with me." And finally, the woman of the hour, I love her, you hate her, Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler is going through it online right now. She is Snow White in Disney's live-action Snow White. She has also had her appearance picked apart on the internet to the point where she has admitted that she thinks about getting work done and how much of it done so that people will stop calling her ugly. I believe the exact quote from her January 31st, 2023 vlog was, "It's gotten to a point where I actually had the thought in my brain of what surgery and how much surgery do I have to get for people to finally stop calling me ugly on the internet." And that was long before Snow White even came out and she was really on the public's radar. And listen, the bob was, in my opinion, better with the headband. However, I know we all saw the gorgeous Snow White press tour looks that Rachel was serving. Like the Paulo Sebastian dress, I think about that weekly. She has been torn apart on the internet. I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. But whatever, she's always gonna have a fan in me. But what do you think? Let us know, and if you're looking for more, check out the rest of the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye!